Now, I'm here today to give you a bit of information about our BSc Finance program. That's my name. I'm Ercüment Aksak. This is one of those names non-native speakers can never be able to pronounce in the correct way. As long as I can understand that you are addressing me, you are going to be fine. This is what I tell to my students all together. That's going to be, it's not something that's important that you need to worry about. I am one of the assistant professors in finance. I am also year 2 tutor. I will be year 2 tutor next year. And I am one of the year tutors in that sense. I will talk to you about that role in a second, in a bit in my presentation as well. Apologies, I'm trying to recover from whatever my son has brought from the nursery last week. So I just kind of walk around and count coming up. So I try to recover desperately for the last couple of days. If it's not going to work, my apologies for this. But hopefully we are going to be looking after you better than we look after ourselves. A bit of information about myself. I'm also a Durham graduate. I have my master's and PhD in Durham. Then I left for some industry experience. I worked in finance industry, various roles from investment banking to private venture capitals, etc. In London, in various areas, in Gulf, GCC area, in Southeast Asia, and also some of the Sub-Saharan Africa. And then, luckily, probably, so just before the COVID lockdown, I just decided to come back to academia once again, and then came back to Durham Business School. In that sense, what we do as an academic is not so much different than what we were doing, I was doing in the industry. It's developing some ideas, collecting the data, compiling it, organizing it, making analysis, running the calculations, preparing presentations. Making the presentations is more or less what we do as a kind of academics. For the present, for your lecture materials, presentations, homeworks, assignments, the case studies, etc., is more or less the same. Only the audience is more experienced on that end, so they are a bit tougher crowd, and unfortunately, a bit of more money is involved in that side of the things as well. My colleagues thought I would be a good candidate to give you the presentation, to be honest, because literally I have been in all sides of the table. Students, I worked in kind of academia. I worked as a potential employees, or group of potential employees. So I can have the information and insight from all these different angles all together, and so hopefully just to provide you the best information about this. This is what we are going to do. The session is going to be roughly organized in 4 sections. So we'll start with a bit of information about the Durham Business School. I will give you a little more information about BSc Finance. Then finally, I will just talk about 2 of our offshoot programs, BSc Finance, study abroad, and BSc Finance with study abroad, and BSc Finance with placement here. And at the end, there is going to be some time left. We can have the Q&A session. If you want to just obviously, if you have any questions for the meantime with the presentation, please just raise your hands and I'll be happy to answer. If you would like to discuss in more detail at the end of the presentation, I will remain here for a little while. Otherwise, I will be in the lunch area in the afternoon. You can just come over and talk to me if you want to talk to me, discuss something in private, or talk to face-to-face one by one. So that's going to be also, I will be also happy to provide you the best information I can. In many ways, well, I think this is the period where all the universities organize their open days. And can I just have a look? So how many of you have been to another open day already in another university? Okay, that's quite a number. So still quite a bit of you are the first time, but then again, those of you who are attendants are actually more experienced than I am, because this is my first face-to-face open day presentation. As I said, when I just came before COVID, and any open days happened until last year, actually we were on virtual environment. It's obviously much different, state much different style. In that, I think it's much better to just come face-to-face and making the presentation or experiencing the environment yourselves. Now, obviously, this is a presentation to make you consider the Durham University. But then again, this is not going to be a sales pitch. In that sense, we want you, as if you are your students that are considering Durham in a realistic sense, that means you are good students, and we would like to have as many good students as possible to our capacity. But that doesn't mean that we want you at all costs. We want you not no matter what. So what we are looking for is, in that sense, is we would like to have the candidates that are going to be fitting to Durham, that are going to be, the team Durham is going to be best fit to them as well. That is going to be a kind of a good match in between. It's going to be beneficial. It's going to be kind of benefit. Happy for both sides. Everybody gets involved. It is not going to be a sales pitch because I cannot underline that enough. This is one of the biggest decisions in your lives, which is whatever decision you make for an application, whatever decision the university you choose, whatever program you choose next year is going to affect the rest of your lives. There is not going to be, this is one of those things that you need to be very careful, that you need to consider all angles, every possible scenario, and then you need to think very much in detail yourself. As I said, even if you are a good student, if you are not going to be happy in Durham, if you don't think you will be enjoying life here, you won't be enjoying the student experience here, that means that we don't want to force you to make that decision. We don't want you to just get in altogether at all costs. This is going to be something that you will be deciding for yourselves, and then for the remaining part of your decision. This is pretty much the biggest decision. Obviously, we have some parents here, of your parents as well. This is the kind of making the school decisions. I have much younger ones, toddler, but again, we make the kind of option decision for his primary school, so for reception. But it was a stressful time, it's a checking opportunity as well. You will to think that it's consider that it is also as stressful, also as challenging time for your parents as well. They are going to be also thinking a lot of thought about what you are going to be deciding at the end of your degrees or your applications. I'm going to give you a bit of information about our business school. Let's start with that. This is a research-led university, and our department is a research-led school. We have over 180 members of academic staff. Actually, we are growing quite fast. We used to have 68 in the joint economics and finance department 2 years ago. And then last year, the number just reached to 96. And that became quite hard to manage, so because of that, we have separated economics department and finance department. Both departments are, at the moment, have the 50+ staff. So you can imagine we are almost doubled in the number of the academic staff in the last couple of years. We have what we call as a triple accreditation. EQUIS is a European accreditation of the quality stamp in that sense for European universities. CSP is an American Business Schools accreditation. So that means we are on par, with comparable to the top level of the American master's programs or the other the business school programs, economics and finance programs. In that sense, also we are accredited to AMBA, which is the Association of the MBA programs. That means it's a specialist degree or overall degree graduate programs. We are also have that accreditation. That means we fulfill certain criteria in terms of the opportunity materials provided to students, teaching hours, the quality of the staff, the quality of the materials provided, the support systems, etc. Everything is above the certain, quite selective, quite high threshold. We have good locations. We have a purpose-built building for business school, which is going to be this is going to be possibly our final year for this building. With expansion, this building is becoming a good craft for us. If you arrive Durham by train, or from the railway station to on the other side of the river, there's a if you have noticed, a big wood paneled building that's going to be our new home, starting from next year onwards. We will be gradually moving in, so probably it's going to be a complicated process in 2 years' time. But then again, there's going to be a purpose-built facilities for your access, for your learning environment. We have obviously are going to be providing you any kind of a computer access, any kind of a broadband access, any kind of a database, any kind of a learning material that you would like to have that is going to be necessary for you to have for your degrees. Everything is going to be provided to you. Everything is going to be done. In that way, we are going to be looking after you quite well, hopefully, if you just decide to come to Durham. There is going to be well-designed degree programs. We are in touch with, we are constantly in touch with our potential employers in the industry. Every year we talk to them. We talk to our connections, our graduates in the industry, the employers, line managers of our students who are completing internship, who are completing their placement years. We get their feedback, and then we change our programs according to the feedback we get from them. Whatever the industry is looking for, whatever the industry is demanding for their job market candidates, for potential employees, we are going to be we are trying to prepare you the best way we can for that job market requirements. So if at the moment, most of the connection, most of the direction of the industry is going to a more quantitative, more technological, more computing advanced stage. And then we will talk about those. So that is the reason, because of that, we have just introduced some new modules on that side of things. We have introduced some new electives on that side of the things as well. But then again, if the industry just moves on to a different direction, it changes the options, or would like to decide to value something different, obviously we are going to be revising our studies. Constantly, there are going to be new modules available. There's going to be new material, adjusted material going to be available according to the feedback we get from those potential employers, but at the same time, it's going to be the feedback we also get from our schools as well. There is going to be a wide range of options, and obviously Durham is one of the universities, the British university that's very highly respected, has an international name, and is going to be one of the universities that is going to be regarded highly if you just go abroad to different countries as well. At the same time, unfortunately, this is the reason Durham degree is a prestigious one comes with a cost to you. That means it's going to be a challenging and stimulating learning environment. In other words, you will need to do quite a bit of homework. There's going to be quite a bit of responsibility, quite a bit of effort, quite a bit of the time need to be put on your degrees and your studies to be able to just get the degree, and then obviously, hopefully, to be able to get the job that you will be looking for your future careers. We have one of the highest response rates in the student satisfaction surveys. So quite a lot of our graduates, final year students, respond to that. That means they care about the university altogether, or that's what we might think actually. And the feedback we get from those at the those ratings actually have been quite encouraging. We are one of the top highest rated universities in the United Kingdom. At the same time, we are 6th and 7th in the Times Higher Education or the Guardian listing for British universities, and we are in the top 20 in the Financial Times rankings as well. So this is a kind of, in that sense, a respected institution in that way. So there's going to be obviously, that respect is going to be coming to additional opportunities for your future studies or future careers. So for the BSc Finance, why BSc Finance? What our program is? I'd like to talk about what our program is and what we will be teaching you, what you can be able to, you can expect from us in all together. Let's start with the very basic. It's simply a kind of a program for admissions that we will be looking for in your admissions, introduce interest in learning. As I said, this is going to be a challenging program. This is going to be a demanding program. This is going to be a program which is going to require a lot of some effort from your end. It's not going to be easy walk in the park, unfortunately. That is going to be, this is also the best way that we can, you are going to get prepared for demands of the job market and of your employers as well. We would like to see the kind of a positive contribution to the university life. As I said, we don't want anybody with the kind of good marks to come in, but we would like to have the people, the students, the candidates with good marks that can be able to just enjoy the life in Durham, so also contribute to the life of Durham, and then fit to Durham as well, all at the same time. We don't do interviews, we don't do face-to-face interviews. But we just take the personal statements, and then we'll be asking for personal statements and your references into the consideration before making the decision. So in other words, it's, your grades or the A levels are only going to be a part of the admissions criteria altogether. So what are we looking for? In that sense, well, we are going to be, our admissions team is going to be, our admissions committee is going to be looking for actually everything. So it's a kind of your prior and predicted grades, that's going to be one part. Your personal statement is going to be a very important part of your application. We would like to see why you are interested in this degree, why you are interested in Durham, what you would like to do with your degree, what you are aiming for, what is your aspirations, what is your objectives, and what you how you think you can be able to just contribute that. I know there is a very strict word count limit for the application form, online UCAS application form for these, and to be able to reflect all these together in that kind of limited word count is a hard work. So that means you need to really think about your statements, you need to think about to spend time and effort on the application and statements in that sense. Your references, your additional evidence of the merit potential, if you are engaged in some social activities, if you are kind of a part of, if you are active in sports, if you are active in social projects, they are all going to be bonuses, all going to be additional effort for, it's going to be bringing additional points for applications. Obviously, anything that's the other skills can mean anything. So it's best that you put everything that is going to be, that you think is going to be helping you for your application in your application packages altogether. As I said, with a limited period, with a limited time and a limited place, that is going to be really hard work. But as I said, also this is one of the important decisions you are going to make. So that will take a bit of time. For more information about the applying admissions process, then we have the admissions desk on the here in the lounge. If you want to just talk to them directly, they are going to be waiting for you. Or if you want to just, they are going to have also another desk on the Teaching and Learning Center, which is a new, nice, fancy-looking building at the bottom of the hill, so with the across traffic lights. There are going to be lots of people waiting for you with other parts of the university as well, in this sense. In broader sense, will be expecting you to have AAB. So, we don't have any specific A-level requirements. So you can actually have with that, as long as you can put the criteria, you can make the application. Only that we don't accept general studies for A-levels. So that means we need to just have some other degree altogether. We accept mathematics in GCSE or core maths qualification. And then the emphasis on the maths and the degrees as a kind of the flexibility is also should be telling you about the direction the things are going to be in our degree, in our program. This is going to be quite quantitative. It's going to be quite maths demanding environment. You will be just asked to just be proficient in any of those. It's not altogether very much necessary because we have students who fulfill the criteria, who make a really good statements, who just make the applications without maths background. We are going to be providing you with the guidance for those as well. So you don't need to worry about not having this, or you don't need to worry about not having enough maths background in that sense. If you are going to be admitted, in the first year we have a module, which is quantitative methods. There's going to be calculus and basic statistics are going to be covered. That's going to be covered almost all essentials of the work that you will need for the rest of your studies. And any of the students who don't have any backgrounds can always get in touch with the module leader, seminar tutor, etc. We are very happy to provide you additional material, additional guidance, some new information, some support materials, some problem sets, etc. Everything is going to be provided to you. A couple of years ago, I had a student in an economics degree program. It's actually who, without any from France, who didn't have any background in maths, provided for some more introductory level textbooks to just go for those. She needed to put some extra effort for that, but then again, at the end, got a really good mark in the final, and is just about to get graduated this year without also having a placement here in all those. So we are going to be taking care of if you need any guidance, if you need any support for your studies altogether. But to be realistic, this is the kind of direction the industry is going. That means you are expected to have a certain level of proficiency at the end altogether. We are not going to see some question that we see quite a lot. Because Durham is a kind of in between in a hybrid system. It's one of the collegiate universities in the United Kingdom. But unlike Oxbridge, we don't have the colleges assigned to the departments. The colleges are different than the departments, so you can apply to any department you would like and choose any college that you would like in between. I strongly suggest you to just check the colleges, visit the colleges, see the environment, see the facilities they provide, talk to some students representatives. They are going to be the best sources of information because they are going to be telling you about what you will be experiencing yourself from the student's perspective, and just so you can be able to choose the college afterwards. In the application forms, you don't need to just choose the college. You just say just Durham City, and then once you get the offer, hopefully, you are going to be allocated a college at the end. Again, the colleges hub, there's a colleges hub in the Teaching and Learning Center. If you would like to have more information about the college system, you are also welcome to just talk to them. So, if that's the kind of the problem, that's the kind of the most important question, is BSc Finance is important for you? So, what we would like to see is an interest in the finance and financial markets, and that you need to be comfortable with the fundamentals, you need to be comfortable with the numbers altogether. Now, quite a bit of the idea, actually, we have obviously BSc Finance, there is the economics program, there is PP, which is offered with the kind of the philosophy department and the politics department as well. Apart from the PP, it's the kind of the different better, but with the question comes most of the time, is the difference between economics department, BSc economics, or BSc Finance, and that is there going to be any difference for the future careers altogether. The basic answer is that you are not there is not going to be any effect on your future careers. There is not going to be any difference of your preferability or employability, whether you have the BSc Finance or BSc Economics. So what the employers are going to be evaluating is your university graduate, your university you are from, your university, and your grades, the final overall grade. And we will come to that, your work experience as a kind of additional material, additional information that we can provide to them altogether. Now, broadly speaking, economics is going to be more theoretical. In that sense, more on to the kind of numerical side of things. That's going to be taking a broader perspective. It's going to be talking about the personal decision-making processes, why we buy and sell things, how we make decisions, if there's going to be a kind of what kind of factors affect our decisions for those. So there's a kind of a psychological, behavioral aspect to that. That also has a reflection on to the financial markets. Obviously, because any kind of a purchase and sell, any kind of a trade is actually a kind of a disagreement between the two counterparties. You sell something because you think it's going to be, its value is you don't need it, or its value is going to be going down. And then you buy something because you expect its value is going to be going up in that sense. So in that sense, the economics or finance in broad sense are not our social sciences. Everything is open to debate. Everything is going to be comes to a different conclusion, and they require different analysis and possible disagreements for a trade to take place. So, economics, the microeconomics side, is going to be taking investigating those. So, talking about most of these. And they're talking about employment, talking about inflation rates, talking about monetary policy, talking about fiscal policies, government budgets, etc. This is going to be kind of their area. So more economic, broader and a more theoretical approach. Ours is going to be more focused on a more focused degree on financial markets, financial institutions, and investments in that sense. So it is going to be there is going to be a slight difference, but as I said, there is not going to be any difference in terms of the employability in that sense. Nobody is going to be will be BSc Finance higher than BSc Economics or vice versa. Okay? So this is going to be your decision, obviously. Most of the admissions criteria, for admissions, you will be fulfilling the criteria for both tickets, most likely, so that it is going to be up to you to how to make a decision. So check out attend the session with the whole economics. Talk to my colleague on the economics department, get the information, get the and you have their opinion, advice if you want, and that's move forward, and then you can be able to make a more informed decision. Now we have, as I said, it's going to be an emphasis. There's going to be emphasis on the quantitative side of things, and we would like to see analytical skills developed at the end. What I mean is that you need to be able to make a make an analytical decision. So, which means you can be able to gather the information. You can be able to just provide a question to answer for. You can develop a kind of hypothesis. It is going to be answering that question, and then have the knowledge and technical skills that you can be able to answer that question in a comprehensive way, make analysis for those to reach to your conclusion altogether. This is pretty much what is going to be expected from you in any of the financial industry work as well at the same time. As I say, we are moving towards a more technical curriculum. It's a kind of there is going to be less emphasis on the theories. Obviously, we would like to see that you have the basis of the basic theory, the basis for the future information about all those, to see the relations in between the aspects, to see the mechanisms of the markets. But then again, we will be just focusing on also quite a bit on the application. So we'll be talking about corporate finance. This is how industry firms make their decisions to make investments or not investments, to get the credit, to how they issue shares, the investments, how the financial markets work, financial institutions, for those financial markets to work, what kind of intermediaries we use, the banks, the investment companies, the insurance companies, the venture capital firms, private equity, etc. Sophisticated financial products, which is mostly the derivative instruments, what we call as the synthetic options, futures, contracts altogether. You are going to be giving information depending on, these are going to be mostly divided in the final year of your studies. So that means we will be aiming for setting up a strong basis in the first and second year of your studies, and the third year is going to be more like of your specialization the year, and then you can be able to choose the option, whichever direction you would like to apply for, whichever the industry type of industry you would like to apply for. You can be able to choose a module that is going to be relevant to that area. So in year 2, as you can see, there is going to be 4 core modules. It's corporate finance, financial economics, financial econometrics, it's a very basic of the quantitative skills, financial markets and institutions, which is a kind of for your going to be first hands-on experience. We are closely cooperating with an investment company. They are using their trading platform, and that is a trading platform. That means you are going to have assigned virtual portfolios. If you are going to make investments, you will see how you win, how you lose. You are going to make then you are going to make analysis of your portfolio's performances as your assessment at the end of the year. So it's pretty much a kind of your first hands-on investment market experience. You can be able to choose 2 options, optional modules from the 5. The banking and financial technology. This is the area, one of the areas is growing the fastest in the finance industry, with the fintech companies, the online banking systems, payment systems, the development. Quite a bit of on the cryptocurrencies as well is going to be included on those. So how that the financial intermediation, the finance industry, which is going to be, which directs your money into the markets, is going to be the subject of this module. There is corporate financial reporting, there's audit and assurance, and taxation. Obviously, you can see a kind of a general team over here. It is big 4 companies, big 4 audit and assurance companies are one of the biggest employees for our graduates. So this is the time that you can be able to have a good information about the job that you will be doing if you decide to join to them. And there's going to be a language module available to you, provided by the Language Center. If you are considering an international career, if you would like to move to another country, if you would like to just choose to try options in another geographical region, and that means you are going to have basic language, some certain fluency in that language of the country that you are considering. In year 3, as I said, this is going to be the time that is going to be more specialization. There is going to be pretty much what we expect is a security investment analysis, which is kind of a development of the financial markets and institutions. This is more additional information on the investment markets, investment portfolios, investment analysis. And there's going to be dissertation, which is going to be 1/3 of your overall degree, which is a year-long 12,000 word individual project that you need to collect your data, that you need to develop your own idea, that you need to develop your hypothesis, that you need to collect your data and make your own analysis. But there's going to be a dissertation supervisor who is going to be going through that process, throughout that process. So you are going to be, you will be supported in that sense. There is going to be quite a high number of options. That's financial derivatives and financial engineering, which is most of the exotic products. Computational quantitative finance, which is the more of the quantitative trading side of the area. Financial econometrics, again, most focus is going to be on the forecasting and simulations on that model. Behavioral finance, there's real estate, big data analysis, analytics is going to be an option. Provided that tax planning and corporate governance are the areas which if you would like to move towards the different areas. If you like to, if you are more interested on the legal or ethical side of things, corporate governance is going to be a better option. If you are considering a career in the big four firm or that industry, the tax planning is going to be a good option for you. And there's going to be a further language model which you can just improve your fluency on the language you want, or so you can go for that. This year we are moving from a year-long structure to term structure, so that means there is going to be a group of the modules provided in term 1 of the Christmas, and there is going to be a group of modules provided in the term 2 in between Christmas and the Easter break. This is what we have been doing in our master's programs. It's worked quite well. That means we are going to have more condensed, a bit more demanding in that sense, a bit more high-pressured courses per term. But at the same time, the number of options that are going to be available to you in year 2 is also going to be increasing quite considerably, hopefully, once you start your degrees. So this is a bit of the transition period. This is what we are doing this year, but there is going to be, it's very likely that we are going to be adding some number of the new modules on this side of the things for year 2 studies. So there's going to be much more options, many more options available to you, hopefully once the time comes for you. How we just deliver our teaching, there is going to be the lectures, there is going to be the classes, seminars, tutorials, workshops. There is going to be, that means this will be your first face-to-face time with your teachers, with the teaching team, that you can just have the information from them, you can get to talk to them directly, have their input all together. There is going to be plenty of group work that you need to just talk to, and you work with your classmates, with your colleagues. And then how to can develop and have the teamwork experience. But at the same time, there is also going to be quite a bit of the private study. As I said, this is going to be a demanding course. This is going to be a demanding assessment. Our criteria are going to be high so that we can remain competitive, we can remain desirable for the employment for employers, for the job markets, for our graduates. There's going to be a connection for the world of practice, so there's going to be quite a bit of the opportunities for the hands-on experiences for those. Some being the, as I said, cooperation with the investment companies, some being hands-on kind of the projects on live data in the markets for some assessment, some being some internship visits or placements, which I'm going to talk to you about in a second altogether. Our assessment is going to be based on 2 groups. One of them is the first group is the formative assignments. It is the assignment which you need to fulfill, which you need to just attend, which you need to submit. But then again, is not going to be a part of your overall grade. The first objective for the formative assignments is that you can be able to test your work and see the mark you are likely to get for that work. So in other words, the most important aspect is the feedback. This you can test a kind of summative, what's going to be happening in your exam or the summative assignment, summative essay, and then so you can get our feedback for those. You can see our comments. You can just adapt your style. You can just adjust your work, and then so that you can be able to achieve a better mark for this your summative assignment, whether being an assignment, essay, or a written examination, which is a classical examination. There is going to be dissertation in your final year. This is 1/3 of your overall grade. This is quite a high, it carries quite a bit of weight. And as I say, feedback is the most important part of the process. That means you are going to be provided guidance for guidance for bringing to the success. So if you ask and if you do your formative work, for the assignments, get our feedback, take that feedback into account. It is going to, it's almost guaranteed that you are going to get desirable results. If not kind of distinctive results, it's going to be kind of you can get the good level results, good level marks for your assignments and for your graduate grades. We have for the apart from the lectures, we are going to be providing you a group of support systems. This has become very important during the COVID periods, and then obviously this is, for some of you, this is going to be the first time away from your families. So that means we are going to be putting a lot of emphasis on your overall well-being, not only academic success, but also personal success and well-being. For that, there is going to be, from the academic side, let's start with what we're talking about. So there's going to be a regular consultation hours for your module leaders, for your lecturers, and for your seminar tutors. So that means you can be able to ask anything that you want, anything that you would like to catch up with, or anything that you feel you would like to clarify, there is going to be an answer for those. Usually the response is going to come within a couple hours, but then we have which is replying almost all emails within 24 hours. It's a time-consuming process. But then again, we just go through those, and there's going to be consultation hours, which is going to be available in face-to-face or also on the online, on Teams or Zoom, depending on the preference of the model leader, so you can just log it anytime. It provides some bit of the privacy as well. You are also going to be assigned an academic advisor once you are entered, who is going to be with you throughout the 3 years for your studies all the time, and it's going to be the same person, same colleague, and that colleague is going to be able to observe your performance all throughout the time, and this is going to be one of the persons to give you the references for your future applications altogether. Obviously, on top of all those, we have the year tutors, which I am one of them, as a kind of a connection point of all these academic staff, support staff, also the college staff and administrative staff, and then we are acting as pretty much the deputy program directors for the overall degree. So we have a BSc Finance Program Director, and then we have for every year, every cohort, we have one year tutor that's going to be helping the program director out in any kind of an issue that can arise from the student side. For the support of the social support or anything that is going to be what we call as a pastoral care is going to be the responsibility of your colleges. Once you join the college, you are going to have a college tutor. You are going to have a group of friends. There's going to be the advisors in the colleges. There's going to be officers that will be responsible for your well-being. It's going to be just observing you and providing you support in any of the aspects that can come through for your studies. If things get a bit serious, sometimes can do. Instead, there's going to be, if you would like a kind of further, more specialized advice or support, there are also going to be some specialized support departments in the university sector, from the kind of learning and teaching, from the kind of any kind of concern, any kind of health issues, the employability, careers options, and obviously even the kind of new for the developing new business ideas and even starting the small business projects altogether is going to be provided with you, with the government, with the university or the central organization. Finally, from the learning experience side of things, we are going to be providing you anything that you will be needing for getting a good mark, getting successful results. Anything that you will think you will need to read, or you will need to see, you will need to check, is going to be provided to you. We have an excellent library, which is actually quite sizable in comparison to overall size of the university. It's one of the biggest in the collections in the universities at the moment. Quite a bit of the emphasis is moved from the physical books to the online books, which is actually much more convenient. You don't need other people to return their books, and therefore the assignment you would like to finish before the deadline. The book is going to be available to you online, so you can just check it anytime you want. You can download within the copyright limits at any time you want for your own work, etc. Any kind of an article that you might need to read for your work, for your assignments, is going to be available. There is not a single good level journal, respected journal that we are not subscribed to. There is also not an important database which you might be needing for your assignments that we are not subscribed to either. So any major database, any kind of information resource that you might need, that we have a subscription to that. Be it the most popular being the Bloomberg professional terminals. It's the most restrictive one. It requires Bloomberg terminals that you need to work on the data on the terminal yourself. It's one of those rooms that building just behind us. But then again, there is also going to be Thomson Reuters, there will be the WRDS for UPenn, and there's going to be Refinitiv of, again, Thomson Reuters, and many of the specialist information on the financial markets are going to be provided to you. Most of those are going to be provided on a link, what we call as a virtual learning environment, which is the Learn Ultra. It's a bit of a fancy eye-candy program. It's clunky, to be honest, if you are to ask me, because it requires a bit of all that fanciful look, requires a bit of the RAM consumption, so it's going to put on the demand for your computing. If you are getting angry, I do, that's a kind of one hiccup about that. But whatever you will be needing for your lectures, whatever you will be needing for your modules, are going to be on the Learn Ultra. There's going to be the links to any of those library material that you will need is going to be provided to you for each of the modules you will be studying on that Learn Ultra program. Every year, the module leader or your lecturers are going to be putting guidance for the modules. We'll be putting the guidance for the assessments. We'll be putting guidance for the assignments that you will be having. We'll be putting information about the lecture, uploading the lecture slides and the reading material before the lectures most of the time. This is what I usually prefer to. There's going to be a face-to-face time just to get to the delivery of the lectures and the seminars. Any kind of problems that are solved, any kind of quizzes that are done, any additional information that might be just based on that lecture is going to be also provided on the Learn Ultra as well. So sometimes it's a kind of some talk, that can be a kind of some conference footage, can be a kind of even some kind of footage from a video, so some movie, or even some documentary. They are going to be over there for you to just for your attention, so to help you in any way, overall way. Altogether. Now I'm just going to talk a bit about the two option programs, about the study abroad and placement year. And after that, I think we are going to be just completing that you can be able to ask any questions you would like. Now, study abroad is simply the option that we are providing to our students, that they can have 1 year of their study at another university in quite a wide range of the geographical regions, in one of the respected universities, in one of those geographical regions altogether. You can apply directly as a kind of an option, so that your BSc Finance will study abroad, or you can just decide that it's going to be something that you would like to experience while you're studying, and now you can opt for that. There's going to be some flexibility for you, so you don't need to be engaged, you don't need to make that decision now. There are going to be opportunities in Europe, Asia, North America, Australia, and New Zealand. That's there are going to be the universities, the number of universities we are in close contact with. We have cooperated with quite regularly for quite some time, and they are going to be happy to have the very active exchange system. 1 year, usually the final is going to be final year of your study, is going to be those within those universities. Now, 3 of my academic advisees, final year of their studies at the moment, are actually abroad. One of them in Copenhagen, the other one is Stockholm, so it's both respected, and the third one is in Bocconi in Milan, in Italy. They are all very respected universities in business schools and economics and finance, offering economics and respected economics and finance programs. Your degree is going to be still from that university, but then again, there's going to be an acknowledgement of your work done in that university as well. And this is going to be a kind of quite a good experience if you would like to consider international careers. There is going to be we are going to have a team. We are going to have a team for that in the business school launch for the international team to give you more information about those. You can email them on that slide. The slides are also on the website provided to you. Or you can just scan this QR code over here right now and then just take the link and bookmark that for the future or to read later on. There's going to be good opportunities. There's going to be good user schools, good finance departments, good economics departments if you want to just move from different area, so depending on their flexibility. But then again, you can be able to, there's going to be a good experience, interesting experience for anybody who might be considering that. The second offshoot is our BSc Finance with placement year. The placement year is basically a year-long internship. Now, it is we expect that to continue for minimum 40 weeks. And it's going to be self-sourced, so it's going to be like internship application. You will need to make your applications yourself. But then again, there is going to be a recruitment. The recruitment process is almost identical to any recruitment process, any job application process after your graduation. There are almost all major employers in the field have their placement programs, the open placements applications. You need to just fill the form, you need to send the CV, you need to just go to assessment centers, you need to go through online testing, etc. And obviously a group of interviews. Altogether, it is going to be almost enough experience for job applications after your graduation. It is going to be self-sought, that means it's going to be your responsibility, but the placement manager and the placement office is in line with the career support is going to be providing you the information that you have any information that can help you out with your applications. To update your CV, to just tailor your cover letters for that application, to give you information about that industry or specific firm, to make that kind of information. There is going to be academic support, so that means you are not going to have responsible for any academic assignments throughout the year. But at the same time, you are not going to be completely left out. In that sense, you will be just if you have any questions about the elective modules to choose, dissertation ideas when you're coming back to for our final year, and there's going to be a placement tutor who is going to be guiding you throughout the system. Also, this is going to be an agreement between, there's going to be some safety, there's going to be an involvement from the university. That means, although you are going to be their employees, you still remain as Durham University family members. So that means we are going to be looking after you, we are going to be looking after your well-being. Your placement tutor is going to be keeping in touch with you regularly, at least twice. You have the meetings, also have the meetings with your employers to get the information, to get their opinion about your performance, also to ensure that you are treated well, you are looked after well, and that you are not put under unreasonable pressure from your employers altogether. If anything as such happens, anything that the student, any of the placement students decide to complain or treated badly, the university gets involved, and the university legal team just provides you the support in writing or any of these. So that means you are not going to feel that alone in the job market. It's a kind of a good simulation with a kind of a supportive environment. Why you should be considering a kind of doing a placement year? It takes a year, usually between second and third year, and obviously it's a year off. That's the reason, and you might be asking why postpone getting graduated 1 year. And in that, for this, I can quite confidently tell you that for being as a person who has experience on the other sides of the job market, that it is something one of the most highly regarded in your job applications. Your job experience, your professional experience, your practical experience is going to be one of the most important part of your applications in the job market once you get graduated. Now, the idea for that is simply you will be working with them for a year. You will be working with them for kind of a month. This is going to be a kind of a short placement. You will be working, if it's going to be an internship for 3 months, this is going to be something that you would like to see from the candidates. Now, for the obviously interviews, assessment centers, etc., are quite important. But then again, what I'm told with the kind of some of the managing directors who go in this field is that anybody can be able to just make a performance for a day or 2 days for the center also. But it's almost impossible for a candidate to act in a different way to make their performances for a month for a longer period of time. That means that you are going to be tried and tested and approved. So you are going to have a kind of approval stamp, hot stamp from a potential employer in the industry. That is most of the times that is going to help you. Our placement students have get the graduate offers once they get graduated. So I'm one of the placement tutors. In 2 years, of around I think 20 students, I think 16 of them got the direct job offers once they get graduated for their graduation, after their graduation. So it is something that employers value quite highly. So I also advise you to just take it into the consideration, take it very seriously. If not the job employment, it's going to be a very important practical experience. You develop your professional skills, you get a hands-on experience in an industry you might consider after your graduation. And this is going to be in a controlled, supported environment, which is going to be better than entering the job market directly like that. It is going to be in that way, in that sense, you can see if that area, if that part of the industry is for you or not. So this year, for example, one of the placement students had to get into a respected company in the industry. But then again, so 1 month into the placements, realized actually it's not that part of the industry is not for him. That's not the kind of the experience he would like to have. As long as you can be able to fulfill the 40 weeks employment criteria, we give the flexibility. You can apply to some other placement programs, get accepted to a program that he is very much happy with at the moment, and then just move forward. So that also protects you from a kind of a very unpleasant experience in the job market, graduate job market, after the kind of professional experience in that sense. Obviously, you develop the skills, you develop connections, you develop industrial references. Even if you cannot get a direct offer from your company, it is, as I say, is going to be a kind of a quality test result for in the eyes of other potential employers in the industry. So this is going to be something that is possibly going to be very useful for future applications. Obviously, it's going to be a paid position, not as high as the graduate positions, but then again, almost there. So that means you are not going to be just left in financial hardship. So you can actually have a kind of a decent income or decent standard of living throughout the period of time. If you would like to have more information about the processes, especially about the more vertical technical side of things, my colleagues are on the placement team, are going to be on Teaching and Learning Center to answer your questions on that side as well. Now, this is a kind of a group of the employers where our students have been in placements, and it's from the finance industry, from the technology companies, from the audit and accounting firms, from the software technology companies. Also, interestingly, it's a kind of quite a lot of the government departments as well. But I think 3 or 4 of our placement students have been in the government positions at the moment. 2 of them in Parliament, 1 of them in Bank of England, and 1 of them in Treasury. And so that means there are kind of quite good opportunities on that front as well if you want to experience on the government, have the public sector experience. What's going to be the future? So that's going to be the final part, and that's going to be the only just a bit of the only bit that's going to resemble a sales pitch. To be honest, that my colleagues insist on that I put. It is simply a kind of a degree which is going to be desirable for future just prospects. It's going to be a kind of a job. It's going to open up the doors for a career path that is going to be financially and career-wise rewarding. So 52% of the FTSE 100 CEOs have background in finance. So that doesn't mean that you need to, if you have a finance degree, you don't need to go to a bank or an investment company. Any firm who is dealing with money, who is buying and selling things, who has a financial transaction, who keeps a record of their accounts, is going to be a potential employer for you. That's pretty much anybody working, everybody, all firms are going to be potential employers depending on your prospects. So this is a kind of a flexibility, it gives a flexibility. That's a desirable degree. This is a desirable university that in the eyes of the potential employers. 90% of our leavers get a job within 6 months of graduation. And obviously, this median graduate starting salary of our BSc Finance degree are considerably higher in comparison to the degree graduates of the many other university, other programs altogether. So this is a kind of a talent industry that's going to make you a desirable candidate for the job market, and is going to be quite a bit of the options available to you once you get graduated, hopefully with a good degree, and then you can just choose in between the many of the different directions, from entertainment, from finance industry, from technology, from consultancy, so energy, altogether, so pharmaceuticals. As I say, anybody dealing with money, any firm dealing with money is going to be a potential employer for you in that sense. Okay? So the final bit, this is a historical university. That is one of the oldest universities in the United Kingdom. So we have the kind of quite historical traditions, can be enjoyable, can be good, can be interesting experience for some of you. So the graduation ceremony is in Durham Cathedral, not yet kind of a small convention center. It's a bit of a historical